Hello there, this is Tom from Magnacad. I'm going to do a little quick demo of showing you how we use some of the Magna-Catalogs to help in the design. In this particular case, a sheet metal part. We've been getting a lot of customers involved in sheet metal recently, so I'm going to be spending a little more time focusing on those tools. So let's get started. Basically, what I'm going to just create is like a metal shelf out of sheet metal, a step rather, that has some expanded metal in it. Very simple, but just wanted to kind of give you the quick overview of how we do that. Alright, so let's get started. So we're going to drag a stock in from our sheet metal catalog, and I'm going to go with 16 gauge. Alright, got the sheet metal catalog here. I just double click on there and I'll put some 36 by, I'm not even sure what the average step size is. Okay, now what I'm going to do is on the underside I'm going to put a bend. So I'm going to drag a bend. You just drag closely to the edge. You don't have to click on the edge anymore. And I'm just going to drag it out. I can give it a height. Let's say it's 1.5. Okay. Now I want this bend to go around the whole piece. Let's minimize this, give us a bigger screen. So what we can do is come to our sheet metal tab and we'll do what we call a miter, add miter. So what this does is we'll pick the bend we want to link to, and then here we pick the edges we want it to wrap around. We pick that and say OK, and it automatically creates the corners with the proper mitering and everything. And if you look in the scene browser, you see it as a miter flange. So the whole thing is basically controlled now with just that one bend. Okay. And what I want to do is put a cutout in the middle of it. So let's go to our Magna shapes, and I'm just gonna drag a cut right to the middle. And by right clicking and dragging a handle makes it symmetrical. So I'm gonna just say 28. And then this way I'm gonna do 14. So we have a cutout in our step, and I want to put some expanded metal in here. So go back to the sheet metal tab. I'm gonna drag a sheet in there, the same gauge. Say OK. Could be a different material, doesn't matter, which it is anyway. And holding the shift key while dragging these handles allows me to snap to the inside edges of it. Okay, there we go. So we have two sheet metal parts. Now I want to add just a tad clearance all around. So I'm just going to pick that again, that feature, sheet metal part. We get the handles. Now right click and drag, and I'm just going to keep nice round numbers. That's the way we like it in the machining world. So that's a separate part. Now that part I want to be expanded metal. We can actually make this a little wider if we want and do something like that. Okay, so we come to our Mag text catalog, new in 2023. This hasn't been released yet, but it will be soon. We've created these expanded metal texture. Basically, they're all the same pattern. Any texture without a B, C, D or whatever on it means it's transparent. This one has a black background, this has a white background, that has a gray background, this is a darker gray background, and a lighter gray background. So for this instance, I want it to be transparent, so I'm just going to drag that right on there. And you can see now the expanded metal is transparent. So you can see through the part. Obviously we need to adjust the sizing of it, so we'll just right click on it, go to there's a smart pane option here, and we can just change that to maybe 5. Make that grid a little smaller. We can go a little smaller if we want. Let's say, again, I'm hitting smart paint. Let's go 3. That looks about right. Okay. Now what we're going to do is do another sheet metal part on the inside. So I'm going to drag right to the center here. Go with the same material. And I'm going to snap to the inside here. Snap to the inside here. And then right click and drag and make this 2 inches wide. And then I'm going to put a bend on this side. And we'll put a bend on this side. And then holding the shift key, I can grab both handles at the same time. Snap that like that. And we have a brace under there. Okay. I want this step to come out. I want this basically to be a bracket that comes out and mounts somewhere on. So I need to create a clearance here, which we can do with our shapes catalog again, and we'll drag a extrude cut, right click and snap, and we're good. Maybe we come down here and do it. We'll leave it like that. I think, well, we'll come to flush here with this piece. Okay, so we have that. What's the length we made this? We'll double click on that. We'll make that 28 inches long. Actually, I think instead of having one in the middle, I'm going to put one on each side, so we can grab that part, get our tribal, and right click in that direction and say create a link. And I want that link to be 8 inches apart in both directions. And we don't need the center one, but we do got to move our slot here, so we'll do the same there. Right click and drag, create a link, 8 inches apart, repeat in both directions, and we don't need the original, so we can delete it. And lastly, what I want to do is maybe put a fancy edge on this for whatever reason. So we come to our Magna Shapes catalog, and I'm going to come to the subtract subgroup, and I want to put a nice fancy OG on the end of this. So I'm going to drag this right to that corner, use the tri-ball, and rotate it 180 degrees. And you see we got a nice little fancy cut on there. We can come in here and say, well, I want this to be maybe 1 inch, and I want that to be 1/8 of an inch. We adjust our little OG cut there. Looks a little coarse. That's just a visual thing. We can bump that up, surface smoothness, so it looks more rounded. Alright. And we have our step basically done. This will be all welded together. Maybe welded screwed, not sure. If we want to see what the flats are on this piece, we can right click and say unfold it. Gives us the bend lines. Refold it again. Same on this piece, we can hit unfold and we see what that flat looks like. And unfold. Okay. And I think, let me see, is it in here? You can export the unfolded part to your CNC plasma table. Whoops, I gotta save the file first. We'll save it. And then we can just drag that in the last way you want to export it to and say OK. And it does that, and you can bring that flat into your plasma table or wherever you need to be. And by the way, we can do, maybe we want to add some more rigidity here, so I'm going to come back to the sheet metal tab and do an outbend right on this piece here, and say that's going to be 0.75 long. You see the outbend goes automatically flush. We can always drag it so it's flush to this piece if we want. Do the same on the other side, outbend, and flush to this. Now if we just look at this part alone, now we can unfold it again. It updates the unfolded pattern with all the bend lines, and you can create a drawing and so forth. So this is just a quick way of how we use drag and drop sheet metal in conjunction with our Magna-Catalogs and some cool texturing options. The way to get the see-through, by the way, is very simple. I grabbed an image off the web that had a transparent background, and then you just simply apply that as a texture and it automatically makes it see-through for you. This is a little better. I had cleaned this up so there's no seams in the texture, but basically that's how you do it. Alright, I hope you find this very useful, and good luck in your sheet metal designing. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at tom@magnacad.com. Have a great day.